Welcome back. Have you heard about the healing method, the emotion code? Maybe from a friend or a practitioner, or from the emotion code book, or maybe one of my other videos. So this is number 2 in a series called Everything You Need to Know About the Emotion Code, but didn't know who to ask. Hi, I'm Hession, and you're here to learn about the emotion code, and I am an expert on the emotion code. I'm a certified emotion code and body code practitioner. I'm a medical intuitive, and I've also worked with Dr. Bradley Nelson, who created the emotion code, since 2014. And like him, I'm on a mission to get this amazing healing modality out to the world. So I've spoken with thousands of people about it, answering their questions, helping them learn about it, having them learn how to use it. And I know people have a ton of questions about the emotion code. Like, can it really be that simple? And does it really work? And can I really get rid of my emotional baggage that easily? And so forth. So let's get started. Question number 1, real basics. What is the emotion code? Well, there's a couple answers to that. Let's start with the fact that the emotion code is a best-selling book by Dr. Bradley Nelson. This is what the book looks like. And in that book, he explains in detail what he discovered in his many years practicing as a chiropractor about how emotional energy can get trapped in our bodies. And it's an underlying cause of probably 80% or more of health problems. And how, when you release that trapped emotional energy, which he calls trapped emotions, our bodies are capable of remarkable healing, even in cases where people have been experiencing pain and dysfunction for years with no relief. So the emotion code is a book, but more importantly, the emotion code is the name of the healing modality that Dr. Nelson created over time based on his years of experience. And the real brilliance of the way he designed the emotion code is that absolutely anybody can learn how to do this for themselves. And many, many tens of thousands of people from all over the world have learned how to use the emotion code and release trapped emotions for themselves and others with remarkable results. So now that brings me to question 2. What the heck is a trapped emotion? So a trapped emotion it's a ball of energy. It's resonating at the frequency of a particular emotion, like grief or anxiety or abandonment. It's about the size of an orange or maybe up to the size of a cantaloupe. They're located somewhere in your body or your energy field. So where do they come from? Well, these trapped energies are most often the result of having felt that emotion at some particular moment in your life, and for some reason not having processed it fully in your body at the time. So it gets trapped and stuck. In my experience, most people have hundreds at least of these trapped emotions. And as you would imagine, they have a powerful imbalancing effect on our bodies. They color and affect pretty much every aspect of our lives. In my work, I've seen they can help cause us to repeat negative patterns, to lock out love and acceptance, put up blocks to our own success, and of course impact our relationships too. But even more importantly, they can impact our health. So what I and many others have found is that these trapped emotions cause imbalances in our bodies, affecting our organs and other tissues. In fact, certain emotions tend to correlate to certain organs and glands. Anger, frustration, and resentment to the liver and the gallbladder, grief and sadness to the lungs and the colon, abandonment and betrayal to the heart, fear to the kidneys and bladder, just as some examples. So now question number 3, where do these trapped emotions come from? Well, there's more than one way that we get them. 1, we can create them ourselves, as I mentioned before. 2, we can absorb them from other people. And 3, we can actually inherit them. So let's look at each of those. Absolutely the most common source of trapped emotions are the ones we create ourselves. What happens is you feel a certain emotion at some particular moment in life, probably pretty intensely, and for some reason, instead of just feeling it and it processing through your body and you move on and feel something else, instead you didn't process it fully at the time. Unconsciously you held on to it, and so it got trapped in your body and it's still there, creating an imbalance that can cause problems in your life and your health for years. Now, we can also absorb trapped emotions from other people. That can happen as early as in the womb, where we absorb a trapped emotion from our mom or someone else that's around at that time. And sometimes it also happens later in life. For example, I was working with a young woman who had had a series of miscarriages, and we were uncovering what were the underlying imbalances that were causing that to happen. And one of the things that came up was a trapped emotion of terror that she had absorbed from her own mother when she was in the womb. Her mother wasn't with us when we were doing the session, so I don't know what it was that caused that, but sometime during the pregnancy, something had happened to create a moment of terror. It could have been something as simple as starting to fall or something like that. And anyone who's been pregnant will tell you that even a little thing like that can cause a moment of panic and terror when you're pregnant. And so for some reason, her daughter, my client, had absorbed that emotion in the womb. And now, more than 20 years later, that trapped emotion was showing up as a contributing factor to her having suffered several miscarriages. So absorbing trapped emotions isn't as common as trapping them ourselves, but it does happen, and some people are much more vulnerable to this than others. They're more likely to take on other people's energies. Now, if that's you, you probably already know that about yourself. You may have just had a little light bulb go off. Like, oh, that's what's been happening? And that's something that the emotion code can help with, actually, to make you less vulnerable to that. In other words, you probably most likely have some trapped emotions that are themselves making you more likely to take on other people's energy. And if those are cleared or released, you'll be better protected and you'll be less likely to continue taking other people's energy on in the future. And lastly, and this gets so interesting, we can inherit trapped emotions from our parents. When this happens, we inherit it at the moment of conception from either mom or dad. And so that trapped emotion is part of us from the very beginning of life, affecting our bodies and affecting how we experience the world from even before we were born. There's some fascinating research out there that was done with Holocaust survivors and their children that backs up this idea of inherited emotional trauma. But in my experience, this happens all the time, not just in horrific cases of trauma like that. Just about everyone I've worked with has at least some inherited trapped emotions. And in some cases, it goes back many generations, hundreds of years being passed on from parent to child in some cases. There's a great book called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin that goes into this in great depth, and I recommend it. And the link to that is in the first pinned comment under this video. So we covered what is the emotion code, what's a trapped emotion, and where do trapped emotions come from. Check out the number 3 videos in the series where we're going to be answering how do you know if you have trapped emotions. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have more questions, you can ask them in the comments below, or if you have a private question, you want some one-on-one time, just click the link below to schedule a free consult.